Okay, ladies, in the beginning of Exodus, Shemot, we're in exile, okay? We also see from Adam, Harishon, and Hava, the descent from the original home in Gan Eden, kicked out, exiled, okay? This is not a depressing story, because at the end of the chapter, it really works out good, okay? So while we were in Egypt, in the unconsciousness of Mitzrayim, there was no stability and there was no home. And one of the things that we all want in our lives is to find a home. Now, you could take that to be a physical home. You could take it to be the Beit HaMikdash. You could take it to be the Beit Knesset. You could take it to be like, when you grow up, you want to get married or whatever. It's just what you're building on the inside. Everybody is looking for a safe space. So here we have a situation from the beginning of the Torah with Adam and Eve, that they're exiled, they're hands off your, whatever. And actually, the entire human experience is born out of that experience. Okay? So when Adam and Eve were in the garden, there was no shame and there was no fear. That wasn't happening then. Now, look at Noah. Noah built a house when there was no home. I want you to see the progression, and maybe even the progression in your life. Okay, here's an exiled situation. Now, he built a house when there was no home. The secret of that was that he learned to create a home, though it was a temporary home, a home away from home. Okay? So, and the Teva, the ark, that provided a space of calm. And even for our lives, that when we go through very difficult times, all the stormy things in our lives, that we also need to find a space where we have calm, where we can be grounded, where we can feel like we're safe, even though the battle is raging on the outside, coming from every direction. But we see this situation here, that in the midst of chaos, he was able to create a space for himself and others, okay? So our lives really reflect this. Now, we go to Lech Lecha, leaving the place you thought was home. We were stuck there. I'm even talking about Am Yisrael. We were stuck there, or you could take it for your soul. Sometimes we feel stuck, right? And you're going to leave a place. You're going to be uprooted to get unstuck because you're going somewhere, all right? Being uprooted, going towards a home. He did not know where he was going. And so he had to create a space to build by being in the present moment. This is one of the solutions when you're in a situation, is in that safe space, is to be present. Do you know what it means? Anybody has an idea what it means to be present?
No worries of tomorrow or today, just in the morning. He's just like happy in the morning.
Any other thoughts? Do we have tools that we can use to become present in our lives?
Sitting in the garden.
Sitting in the garden. What was that? Hitbodedut, like a type of meditation, contemplation. Very good, very good. Also, so these are tools. Sometimes we may even need to talk to a friend or somebody who has walked through the things that we've walked through, and that can facilitate direction to bring us in the moment. But it's like really like accepting that right now maybe I don't have things together, and even that is being present, and that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to say, to accept, well, I have this going on in my life, because we would rather just duck for cover, put it under the rug. But there's a big freedom in that space, and it takes a lot of courage. Okay, so we're at Lech Lecha. So I brought in that we build this space of calm, this place. One of the ways is being present in the moment and using the momentum that pushed me forward and yearning for home. Because something caused me to shift. Something took me out of my comfort zone. And we all know what that's like. And there's this yearning for home. All of us have it. It comes in a different way. You may not sometimes consciously think of it, but like you go through something and there's like, you ever feel that you want to move on? Mm-hmm. All of us have it inside of us. You know, Hashem has put eternity, olam, the whole world, he's put it in our heart. There's something of us that just doesn't sit unless we go forward. And sometimes it's like 2 steps backwards, 3 steps forward, but there's a general momentum that Hashem is trying to bring us to the space that we were before we came down. Our souls asked for this challenge. We came from a very whole space. That's what we have in Yadut, in Judaism. And our souls chose to come down here to make repairs in our lives. And because we knew, and Hashem knew, that we were totally able to go through and to come through on the other side. Our souls asked for. So the thing that's the most trying thing for you in your life right now is a gift from Hashem. Whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, whether it's your visa. We all know what that's like. I sat on your side of the story that wasn't in this program 18 years ago, so I fully well understand this. I mean, we all have the challenges that are there, but I can say and look the thing in the face and say, yeah, I have a challenge right now. How are you doing? Baruch Hashem. Yes, Baruch Hashem. But you don't have to tell everybody your stuff. But maybe you have somebody you say, but I'm going through this and this is a little challenging for me right now. You know, some authenticity and being vulnerable and being real. Vulnerability is his power. Okay. So, okay. So in Shemot, we are beginning to find a home at the end of this parasha, finally. And again, I wrote that home is where I feel safe. I do not need to question where things are, right? I can take my shoes off. It's a place of familiarity. Kel Shakai, you know that name of Hashem? Enough. The God who is enough. That's your home space. That's where you came from. And that is really the journey that we're all on. And adding some consciousness to it will give us a sense of purpose, that what we're going through is not accident. You know, when you see your imperfections, you could be very hard on yourself, some of us. And okay, so to find that place, I'm okay, but I'm not okay. Do you see? I'm okay, but I see this thing in my life, and then I silence myself. I'm just giving an example. I'm just saying I silence myself. I become present, and I realize that actually this thing that I don't like in myself, or this thing that's happening on the ground that I don't like, or this relationship that I don't like, or this whatever I don't like, it's like it's there, and I'm okay to say that to myself, that I'm okay. I can find that I'm okay in there, and it's a work. And sometimes we go around the wilderness till we get there, because when things are not going so well, you know, continuously, it could be very discouraging. You know, like you feel sick or something is going on with you and you don't know what to do with it. Okay, so I have that, but that's not the only thing I have. I have other things. We have other things going on for us. Or I have this imperfection, but that's not all of you. That's not all of me. Okay, so I have strengths also. So I also have weaknesses. And welcome to humanity. And this is the world at large. Okay, so there's a place to be kind to yourself. We're not perfect, and it's really okay. It's really okay. Okay. What was that?
The name of Hashem that you mentioned?
El Shaddai. El Shaddai.
El Shaddai.
It's actually El Shaddai, but because we try not to, yes.
Oh, you're trying to not pronounce it.
Right, but for teaching purposes, it's okay.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that I said that. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so I wrote again, even though I said it, we all need that space because we came from there, from the womb. We came from the womb, from Hashem, from that ocean oneness. Everyone has a desire to return to the Beit HaMikdash, the place where I'm okay. Everybody has that desire, and the Beit HaMikdash in my mind, and the Beit HaMikdash in my soul, mind/soul. Everybody has that desire. There's something there that we wanna erect this thing inside of us that is safe. Right? You could see the Torah doesn't really mess. You could see microcosms, macrocosms. You talk about building a house or whatever it is. House is physical. You got the Beit Knesset, you got the Beit HaMikdash, you got your life, as we said. It's the whole, everything is all connected. Okay. So in building the Beit HaMikdash, we're looking for menucha, for rest. We want a place to rest. Okay. I can yearn for home, and it will come. It's going to come on any level you want to say, personal or otherwise. It will come. There are benefits of yearning. There are benefits of wandering, of not knowing also. We don't have to know everything. Really? I mean, we really don't have to know the destination. The journey is plenty, and this is what Hashem is going to address us through in this chapter in this book at the end. The Mishkan is in between exile and arrival at the Beit HaMikdash. The Mishkan was erected. It was a portable thing. It was portable. That's why I said that we're okay, but we're not okay. It wasn't easy for us when we were out there. We had to transport stuff. Moshe Rabbeinu had the whole idea of how things were going to be done, and rightly so. But it wasn't a piece of like an easy thing. We were still not home. We were not home. So Shemot teaches us how to be okay with exile and geula, exile and redemption. From the beginning of the book to the end, we're still not there yet. We are learning to be okay, we're not okay. The process is it's called being okay when I'm not okay. If I wait to be okay, I will not be okay. It is about learning to be okay when I'm not okay. Right? The process described by Rashi on Shmot 40:38. Okay, so in the beginning of Shmot, Exodus 1, verse 9, Israel is addressed as Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. Here, now I'm going to read this verse. It says, verse 37, if the cloud did not rise up, they would not journey. No, when the cloud was raised up from upon the Mishkan, the children of Israel would journey on all their journeys. If the cloud did not rise up, they would not journey until the day it rose up. For the cloud of Hashem would be on the Mishkan by day, and fire would be on it at night, before the eyes of all the house of Israel in all their journeys. So we're not using Bnei Israel, right? We're now saying the house of Israel. We were Bnei Israel. They were losing their place in the beginning. We were in exile. All of a sudden, we're a unit. House of Israel. That's pretty big. Now, Rashi also brings out that the word, it says here, the encampment, when they would camp with the cloud over them, the encampment is the rest place, right? The encampment is a journey. The encampment, the rest is a journey. They needed to have rest stops because then they'd pick up themselves again and go on, like us. Pick up yourself and go. But it's like, he says, we're not home yet. Home, rest, encampment is a journey. I need to be okay because things do shift. It's one long journey. I find my rest, and I do not need to know the destination. I connect to Hashem through mitzvot, right? We are not in Israel yet, right here, and we're not at the final Beit HaMikdash yet. But the whole idea is that he brings out here that it's the word he uses here, for the cloud of Hashem would be on the Mishkan by day, and fire would be on it at night, before the eyes of all the house of Israel in all their journeys. So what does it look like when we look at our lives? Like, okay, so here is an encampment for us, a rest stop, and it's like, we think that's it, right? But then there is moving on in all their journeys. And Hashem, Rashi brings out, he was present in the journey, because it says it was the cloud of Hashem. The cloud of Hashem was upon us. That means Hashem was walking through with us on the journey and the journeys. So it's not about, here's a destination. It's about the derek, the way you're going. That's the journey. We have no idea how many more journeys we're going to have. But it's like we go there, and it's, if you could picture yourself in the framework of the book of Shemot, you could see it, what it was like in the beginning with the exile, and how now there's a temporary home. It's still not the home. We haven't reached there yet. We're in that situation. We want to go home. We want to go home, and we're not there. And then this is the journey. This is the journey of all our lives. It really, really is. And it's really okay. I don't want to say it's okay to not be okay, but you can be okay when you feel not okay. So this was the essence of the shir I listened to that I was very inspired by. I did prepare some other things, but I also wanted to give you a chance to interact, share your thoughts, your experience around this, because I don't know, I'm pretty sure all of us are the same in this way, that we have things, that we have learned, or questions we need to ask, or identification with, I can relate to that, or methods of how does one get there, or whatever. I can't claim to be an ace on anything, but I know for a few years now, I feel more aware of how to manage myself when things are not okay. Mm-hmm. And part of that is accepting how I feel about it, and embracing it. And that's where the courage comes. And if you catch yourself, they say, in a funk or in an off mood, or something is not going well. I mean, if you develop in your lifestyle a way to check in with yourself, like I would say to myself, what's going on for you? There was a time when I didn't want to see anything, but it's like all of a sudden now there's a current pulling all of us at the pace and the direction that we all need for our lives, no one being better than the other. And so it's very helpful for me personally when I actually check in with myself and say, what's going on for you now, and what are you feeling? Whether it's I'm discouraged, or upset about something, or even happy about something. Yes, like that. And We have to be true to who we are, because therein lies the ability to go forward and to be really who we are. And because when the challenge comes, it's in your face and you worry about it. And it's okay to say, yes, to myself, I am worried on it. Now, how can I actually step back? One of the things I brought it to this class before, I don't know if all of you were here, one of the things that's also very helpful is to become an observer of what you're going through. The minute you become an observer of what you're experiencing, you put some distance between you and the thing. So here's the issue, and I'm here, and I'm noticing what's going on for me there. The minute I start to notice what I am as an observer, that thing, it loses its power, the full power.
That's
And
true. That's true.
yeah, and that may be your higher self just standing up and saying, "Oh, I noticed that," and I know another tool I learned once upon a time is that sometimes I would pretend, I haven't done it for a while, like I'll take a chair and I'll put myself across there and I'll just look at that chair. I say, "What's going on for you?" No, you'd think I'm like nuts, but it really works.
Yeah, because you want to get it out of
Yes.
out of your body and you get detached from it.
And sometimes you need to offer yourself self-compassion. Anybody knows what self-compassion is?
Giving yourself a hug.
What? Amy, what's I see her nodding her head.
Having love and kindness and patience and understanding and acceptance as much as possible. And really, when I make a mistake, because of what I learned in childhood, and I immediately get mad at myself. And what I've been trying to do in my life is to say, that's okay. And you're really trying, and it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love what you said about accepting and not being okay. Because I think that's really powerful. Like it's one of those things that sometimes I don't know if the words like capture, because I think there's a lot of depth into what you said, and what you said. I also had a question for you about, I'm cloud this right now. So I'm really confused about this because when that's said in Torah, like, does that mean like all of them? Like who exactly is that referring to? Like what?
You mean the house of Israel?
Oh, yeah.
It's the house of Israel, speaking about the whole house of Israel. That could be a technical question that you could probably save for my husband.
Okay.
It's a very good question, but it could open up a lot of stuff. So I want to keep a little bit more focused.
That's all good.
But I think it's a very good question. But Aaron will be able to answer that in more in depth. We know Amy, and we know her for a while now. So
in the beginning, when I was on my way to Israel, it was taking so long for me to get the plane ticket and to go. Almost years were going fast, and I was always so frustrated. And I was like, "Hashem, please, when am I going to go?" And this Rastafari man actually gave me advice. He said to me, "Your feet are your home." And then when I come to realize that you'll always be home.
Right.
So when I heard that, I was like, "Okay, but I still have to get to Israel." When I eventually got to Israel, I realized the truth of that, because I was still searching for home. But yeah, and I'm like, I need to find that in my feet myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Self-compassion also looks like sometimes you could even just give your heart a pat. A little, I'm not turning this into a psychology class, but I want to tell you, I see the whole integration of the Torah, which is psychology 101 for me.
Wow.
Hashem says to love your neighbor as yourself. How, if I don't love myself, how am I going to love you? That's psychology 101, right? But that's not what it's about. But it's really like there's a whole integration of everything. And there's freedom there, and courage there, and love there, and a space there. And to be able to tap into it is our privilege. And it actually is inside of all of us already. We're just becoming more aware and conscious, as we go through. And it's very often, it's the hard things that come into your life that push you into a space. Hashem is raising a people who can stand, people who can stand and know who they are. know who you are. Like you're made in the image of Hashem. And that's not a light thing. That's a big space. And we came from that space. And we asked to come down here in the tafkid, in the different things we're in, because our souls knew, like I said, that we were going to make the repairs here. And so, you know, that's what we believe. And so it does take a little bit out of takes some of the sting out that we're really going somewhere. And this is pictured in the parasha with the whole bit about the journeys. And it was like journeys. But it's one long journey with journeys.
Mm.
And there is a place there to rest. And Hashem is with us in that cloud, those clouds of glory, the kavod. You know, the kavod is like, you know, when you stand up and give respect to us, you know, a rabbi or an elderly or whatever, kavod is like, you recognize, it means like weight, the weight of the other person. The weight of Hashem, who he is, was over us when we were in that space. And it's very, very rich. So I still have a few minutes, unless you have comments or questions, I can go ahead.
I have an association where I was thinking, when a child is born, out of the womb comes out also placenta.
Uh-huh.
And the form of placenta is like a tree with many, many ramifications. So, as you said, we wanted to come to the world, and we are connected to this placenta, to the whole thing.
Yeah.
It speaks to me so much, because they say it's very important even to keep the placenta, not throw it away. But we are all born in the hospital, so they just cut it and throw it out. Yeah. Anyone to eat a placenta still? In China, what? You make it. The baby eats it, right? No, the mother. No, the baby better than.
Community for the child. It's for the child. She got into these animals here. You don't feel like that's very good.
I'm speechless. I never quite heard of that before.
Because also by their circumcision, they say they don't. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
But if I can redirect
Okay, a comment? Okay.
So, integration is one of my favorite words. Process is very crucial to any kind of moving forward.
Yes.
In life, and then we many times we go through the same lesson just because we did not integrate what we learned.
Exactly.
You know, we want to have the experience, we want to understand, and then we understand, and then you kind of left it behind, or you just dissipates. And I guess because we don't have that awareness of what to do with it. Now I have it, I understand it. What do I do? How do I integrate it?
Right.
And, yeah. So it's very interesting.
Integration is a happening all on its own. You get a piece here, you get a piece here, you get a piece here and there, and all of a sudden it just gels inside of your essence, the essence of who you are. It just gels and comes together. You go like, oh, all right, I understand that. You know, I could see that. So it's a growing thing too.
Right, but there's also that, I believe, there's also that awareness part where you, also which we touched upon many times tonight, is the acceptance. The acceptance of those parts of us that we would rather get rid of, you know? That's also integration. I integrate, I'm not cutting this part of me, I'm integrating
Exactly.
it. And I'm trying to do my best to work on it.
Exactly.
But we do the opposite. We want to cut and get rid and become somebody else.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So that's integration for me as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so integration is an umbrella term that I really love.
Very good. So I would say, I'd say one thing. There's a mode of therapy called IFS, Internal Family Systems,
Mhm.
and that's what they one of their ideas is that it's like we have different parts. So when I can tell my inner critic is showing up, I notice my inner critic is showing up, and it puts the observing part really helps a lot.
Mhm.
So, and I can ask myself, what am I needing right now when I'm going through a difficult time? What is it that I need when I'm really discouraged? If I'm tired, I need to sleep. What is the body asking for? And, or if you get like a headache and it's because of tension, and you ask yourself like, all right, what's going on for me? These kind of things actually help us to move through and navigate our way through our situations. Yeah.
So it can be connected to this, what you just said, to the parashat, to the name of parashat. I think it's like a visit, they wanted to come and to see.
They wanted to count.
Yes,
Yes.
they wanted to count. So on yourself, do you also do that?
Yeah, accountings, like yes, this is what, that's really what it is. Yeah. Right. Okay, so I was going to say something, but maybe I won't read it because I know you have another teacher soon. Time really flies, doesn't it? No, 6:30. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll give you a little thing now. We have in the Haftorah about Shlomo Melech and the building of the Beit HaMikdash. And this is the Haftorah for this week. And the whole idea that he did all the things he had to do, right? And then it's just something glory of Hashem fills everywhere. But we also see in the Parsha, Pekudei, that Moshe completed the work. He completed it, right? His wisdom was very, very important in this whole thing. Hashem gave him the wisdom. And so we see something happens when we complete the work. The word used for complete by Moshe Rabbeinu is, and I shared this before, but it's worth bringing up. I mean, I shared it in one of the classes I taught here about the word Vayachal. Vayachal Elokim, remember? Yom HaShvi? Okay. Let's see. Okay. Vayachal Elokim b'yom HaShvi melakto asher asa v'yishbot b'yom HaShvi mikol melakto asher asa. So this is talking about Shabbat, right? This is talking about Shabbat. But the word that is used about Moshe when he did all the stuff, got the whole act together, everything was ready to go, is Vayachal, the same word. And I brought it up, and I purposely am bringing it up again because I think, we're right before Shabbat. It's something very special. I want to give meaning to, we say, okay, one can fully have rest and make a proper Shabbat when he or she feels Yachal. He has completed all of the work that needs to be done. In this sense, the sages teach that the moment Shabbat begins, one is to consider it as though there is nothing that remains unfinished or incomplete. That one is not merely pausing from work that will need to be continued next week, but rather all worldly concerns and burdens have ceased, and one is completely at peace. This is consummate rest, and this is the level of bliss and freedom that we are intended to achieve every Shabbat. But how is this attitude possible? How is one expected to experience such complete rest when the stressors and responsibilities of the work week do not truly vanish simply because the seventh day arrives? This is precisely what the Torah's wording is teaching us. As you mentioned before, the word kol means not only complete, but also all. True completion is a state of being unified with all and everything. To complete something is not only to finish it, but furthermore to make it whole. Understood this way, the verse above would be rendered, and God made whole the seventh day, his work that he did. In other words, he completed the cycle. Throughout the first 6 days, he moved outward, so to speak, creating multiplicity and darkness. But on the seventh day, he closed the circle, moving back to the essence and reunifying everything that had seemed separate and diverse. This is a consummation that Shabbat brings. Now, this is very, very nice. I'll share this part with you. Kol, like we say, Vayachal, complete, as we noted in the chapters before, is also the root of the word kilayon, means annihilation, as well as klot, expiry, which is commonly used in Hasidic philosophy to refer to kalot nefesh, the expiry of the soul. It is similar to the root kala, bride. And we explain the correlation of bride and expiry to be an expression of the union of souls that occur at both marriage and at death. So you have kalot hanefesh, which is the soul of somebody passed, expired. But you also have the word kala, the bride, getting with the bride. That it's like husband and a wife get married, and they expire into each other, you know, and they become like one. It's like union of souls.
Are you saying like each one dies metaphorically?
No,
Yeah.
when a man and woman marry, their souls not only complete one another, but they expire into one another.
I don't know what that means, expire.
Expire means die.
You go into each other. You're like together.
Right.
You're whatever, but it's merge. Thank you. That's good.
Right.
You merge with each other, and ceasing to be isolated. Hashem said it to us in Bereshit. For this is the reason a man leaves and he cleaves. And you know what that word for cleave is? Devekas. Do you know the word devekas? It's really cleaving to Hashem. The Baal Shem Tovs love, you know, in Hasidut, they love to use this a lot, this word, devekas. It's like, it's a beautiful word. It is, well, I believe it is in the Torah. I don't know if it's Aramaic, but Devekut. Devekas. I said devekas, but it's pronounced devekut also. But you know how that goes, devekas. Okay. You know how we do the ST thing.
Yeah.
Yes, all right.
This case I was.
Lost for a moment. Okay. So similarly, when one dies, the soul leaves the confines of the body and reunites with all the other souls that had also seemed to have temporarily separated and distinct and become distinct. On Shabbat, this is our consciousness. Our soul returns to its source and reunites with everything. Therefore, in the service that we recite to welcome Shabbat, we recite not only the verse cited, Vayechal Elokim Bayom HaShvi, and God completed on the seventh day, but the center point and highlight of the service is a singing of the Lecha Dodi prayer, the beginning and refrain of which is, "Come, my beloved, to meet the bride. Let us greet the face of Shabbat."
Is that when you get an extra soul from Shabbat?
Right. So here we see that Shabbat is referred to as the Kala, the bride. Our intention as we sing this mystic prayer is not only that we are welcoming the Shabbat as if it is our most beloved friend and partner, but furthermore that we are expiring Kala in reunion with all of existence. We are ceasing to be an individual and we are returning to the reality that we are one with everything. I mean, there's a big teaching there with Shabbat, that is like, it's, why did Hashem give it to us? Okay, so we rest, but they're very deep meanings for what it is. And Judaism tries to tell us through different ways, different avenues, but it's at the end of the day, it's all one. Everything is true, what you hear. Yes, it's a time of rest. It's a time of oneg, but it's also a time of consciousness and contemplation. And to know that already you're entering what Hashem has said, that Hashem has already blessed it and he's already sanctified it. So we're going to get in the program of what is already, it already is. It's like the eternal is. It has always been and it will always be. So we're just raising the level of our consciousness. When we go to daven in the shul, it's like we daven with kavana. We want to daven with kavana. We just don't want to do it just to pass the conversion test. It's like we wanna, even if we can't maximize and get everything through, it's like the little that I bring. Okay, so at least I made it to Shema, and I can concentrate on Shema, and at least I can get through the Shemona Esrei, or at least I can know where we're reading in the parasha, so I'm not lost. And so I take my Hebrew English or Hebrew whatever, wherever we are at, and so they're reading in Hebrew, so I'm reading in English. And okay, so in the davening I don't know Hebrew, so all right, so I glance over at the English, and then as I keep going regularly, and if they sing especially, and that you get the nigunim, you actually can move in the language much quicker because you get to know the sound, but you're the tune and the nigun. So it's all about being conscious and having kavana when we are in shul attendance. Of course, sometimes we're tired, we've worked and all that, but I'm just saying that kavana, your intention is everything. If you get up in the morning and you intend to be the best you can do, or to do some mitzvah today, mitzvah to connect you to Hashem and to connect with the oneness of who he is. If you start your day that way, and maybe sometimes things don't go well in the day, but you already took a step in the right direction to develop your awareness that it's not just routine and business as usual, or not just class as usual, but Hashem is trying to furnish us with something that we need, that I need in a given day through many, many sources. Whether it's not even people, could be the bird outside, or the lizard that I get freaked out about. Thank God they don't come to my apartment, or whatever it is. It's like everything is one already. And like I brought before that, we came from one, a space of one. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It's not a joke. It's not just Hashem is one, but we are one also with him. And the journey as we go along is to develop and grow in him, where we experience more and more of this oneness. And so anyway, let me just see if I have one more thing to say. So at this moment, just as God has completed his work at the end of the 6th day, so too I have completed my work, and I'm now able to fully rest. As a matter of fact, I am not only able to rest in this way, but I am commanded to do so. The mitzvah to rest on Shabbat is not only a directive to cease all work. On a deeper level, it is an obligation to relinquish all our tension and material concerns and to experience the shalom, the peace, and the completeness that the unity of Shabbat brings. As we've discussed before, mitzvah is not only a commandment as derived from the root sav, command, but its connection deriving from the root savsa, which is a bond. The reason why we do a bond, the reason why we do mitzvot, it's a bond. It's a bond. So can you imagine what would happen if you put intention to your mitzvah? I remember I converted now 18 years ago. I remember when I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning, but when I would see people lighting candles, I said, why do we have to do that? Why do we have to do that? But why do we have to do this? And it's okay. And sometimes you go forward and you do the things. You go on. And all of a sudden you understand, yes, it is brought down. That's what we do. But the connection became so deep very quickly that when you have intention, I'm lighting candles, not stam. But this is the way I bring in Shabbat. And what does it mean for me to bring in Shabbat? That I don't, I'm not doing any work that's forbidden. And I'm hopefully ushering the space for entering into what Hashem has already given. He's already given it. And you don't have to put yourself under pressure, but I'm so down and out on Shabbat and So you tell Hashem, this is hard for me right now. I need some help here. Or you read Tehillim. He's not going to judge you because you're off mood on a Shabbat. He's Davka, your father, Atem Banim, you're Banim of Hashem. He wants to come to where you are and give you that comfort. And he's also given you that Shabbat. So it's not something to be judging yourself. And if you find yourself judging yourself harshly, just recognize that that's the inner critic showing up to reinforce to you. And that's a voice that can be silenced. So, you're aware that, okay, I'm criticizing myself. I'm not, I want to make another turn here. I'm going to turn to Tehillim, or I'm going to turn to something and go there because I want to hear what Hashem has to say about me. And he knows that we need his help. We all need his help. And, there's a pasuk in Tehillim, David Melech says, Hashem is with me through all my helpers. Hashem is with you through your adoptive family for conversion, through your friends, through your teachers, through anybody that helps you. Hashem is showing you, just like the cloud over there. It's like it was over them, but it was the cloud of Hashem was over them. Hashem's over us here. And that can't change because he can't, he says he's not a man. He cannot lie. That's what the book of Numbers says. He can't lie about who he is. So, let's see. While it may be unreasonable to command someone to relinquish all his or her worries and to thereby experience the feeling that everything is complete, when one fully connects to God in his absolute oneness through the bond, the mitzvah that the mitzvah creates, then his or her worries will vaporize and she or he will experience the true rest that is available to us even every 7 days, So, okay. I think probably I should hold unless anybody has a comment or a question, because I think your teacher might be coming. Pninei Hashem. Yes, I like his works very much. He's an anonymous writer, but he quotes a lot of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I like his work very much. So yeah. Any comments or?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thanks for joining us. And I hope this was refreshing for you and encouraging.
It was very refreshing. I love it. I can relate to all what you said. And please come back.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much.
you.
And I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Also, Hashem should bless all of us with a wonderful, peaceful Shabbat and good rest. And
Yes.
may we be comforted with all the challenges that we
Yes.
have. And maybe hold space for the things that are uncomfortable.
Yes.
And how do we start it? It's being okay when we're not okay.
When
May
we're
we
not
know that
okay.
we can be okay.
Yes.
Thank you. It's
care.
very
Shabbat
soothing
Shalom.
here.
Thank
Shabbat
you.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. What's your name again?
Bina.
Bina.
Bina. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So I missed that 2 minutes at the beginning. I had to go out and phone call.
I think they recorded it. The share was I was on YouTube by Joseph Rosenfeld. He didn't give it a name. He did, but it was something I think he put out today.
Oh, he has his own show.
I think
Shama shir shir chadam